You know that an attorney can be unprofessional, right? It can actually happen. Welcome back to our 10-part series on red flags to look out for if you are hiring a divorce attorney. Here at Divorce Den, our focus is on helping you create your best future during and after divorce. We're not giving legal advice. We're talking to you about ways that you can set yourself up for success and hire the right attorney. Today, we're talking about red flag number 6, unprofessional behavior in your attorney. Believe it or not, attorneys sometimes can act in an unprofessional manner. If you don't believe me, go hang out in one of the courthouses in the hallways, in the courtrooms, and just see how maybe they act with each other, how they act with the judge, sometimes how they even act with their clients. When you are looking for legal representation, whether you're in court or whether you're choosing an alternative model that is outside of court, your attorney should always be acting in the most professional manner possible with you and with other people who are on the team, other people who are involved in the divorce. That starts with your initial consultation. So let's talk about why professionalism matters, not only in the legal realm, but also when it comes to your case and how you are going to create the best future for yourself. And that professional attorney is going to help you do that. Any professional divorce attorney should make you feel heard, should make your voice feel valued, should make you feel like your case matters above all else. Not just that this is another number, that your case is just like any other. Oh, I've dealt with a million cases like this. We can do X, Y, and Z. Right, but my case is not a million other cases. My case is unique. My family is unique. My circumstances are different. I have a different outlook on things, and I want an attorney who really hears me and who values what it is that I'm saying and what I'm bringing to the negotiations and to the talks as well. So not only do you want to feel heard and you want your attorney to be confident when they are speaking to you about how they can help you advance your matter, not how they can help advance the matter, how they can help you do your matter, but you also want to make sure that they're valuing your time. I like to tell people all the time, when your attorney is not respecting your time, whether it's a designated time that you have set to speak to them on the phone, whether it's a Zoom call, or whether you have an appointment to meet them in their office for a consultation, whatever the method is that you're choosing to meet with them for the first time, if they are not on time, if they don't respect or value your time, that's going to be a big red flag. That is a big sign of unprofessionalism. That doesn't mean people can't be late. Of course, things happen. Sometimes emergencies happen. It happens to me. It happens to you, I'm sure. How your attorney will handle that will tell you how professional they are. If your appointment is at 10 a.m. and they show up at 10:15 a.m. and then they start the meeting and they say, okay, so I read through your intake form and here's how we can help you. They don't address that you were just sitting there for 15 minutes waiting for them, that you might have had to take off of work, find childcare, drive to the office, figure out how to navigate a Zoom. So not only did you have to do all of that, but now they're 15 minutes late and they haven't even addressed the fact that they're late. Nobody has to go and trip over themselves overly apologizing if there was an emergency, but they should be professional enough to tell you, I do appreciate your patience. I had an emergency, and now I am fully devoted to talking to you about your case. Great. That is how you would handle that in a professional manner. And far too often, I have seen that that has not happened. And I suspect you know that too. If you've ever been to any meeting and someone has shown up late and then they don't even address it or they dismiss it like it's no big deal, that makes you feel like your time isn't worth anything, right? All of my efforts, all of the time that I took to be here is not even worth you acknowledging that I sat here for 15 minutes doing nothing, just waiting, and you don't even apologize for it or just, address it and then we can move on. You know what that feels like. And you don't want an attorney who is not respecting your time from the minute you have a consultation with them, because then when you go down the road, is that going to be how they conduct themselves? That doesn't sound like a very professional manner to me. And now, unprofessional conduct or unprofessional behavior is not a legal term, right? So it's really up to you to decide and to determine, does this seem like it's that the attorney is rushed? Maybe they have a very, very busy schedule. Maybe they have a lot of things going on. But when you know that an attorney's being unprofessional with you, follow that gut. You know it because they're doing it. So speaking of unprofessional, I have unprofessional office mates who do whatever the they want. And here we go. She's going to...
A few moments later.
Another sign of unprofessional behavior is when your attorney comes to the consultation or the meeting with you fully unprepared. You have 3 kids, You live in a single family home and you have a business that you work on with your spouse. And they show up and they say, "Oh, okay, so I see you have two kids, Jack and Jill, and you work at the IRS." So, no, that's not my case. Or they show up and they say, "Okay, tell me about your case." Well, I just spent an hour or a half an hour with your support staff going over my intake form, and they haven't even taken a moment to just look through it, to know the names of your children, to know basically what it is that you want for your future, to have a general understanding of your matter. To me, that is something that I would never do. The professionals that I work with who have the highest ethical standards would never do. To me, that sounds like a very unprofessional interaction. So if that happens, then you have every right to say to the attorney, "So I already filled out that intake form. I already spoke to your support staff about this. I gave all of that information. Here's the name of my children. Here's the updated information. So how can we work better going forward so that you make sure that you're prepared in advance for these meetings?" You can say that. That's really very much up to you on how you want to handle it. But if you know from jump that your attorney comes into a meeting and they're not prepared, that is not professional. That is not them giving you their best. And if they're not giving you their best in that moment, from the time you meet them the first time, are they going to give you their best going forward? Lastly, what if they are very disorganized? I have gone into attorneys' offices, piles and piles of paper. And I'm not talking about a folder. I'm talking about piles and piles of folders where there is just paper upon paper, notes upon notes, things that I assure you, if they had to go and find that one tax return from your case from 2022, they would have no clue where to find it because the office is just filled. It looks like it's a fire hazard. Now, that's not all attorneys, but I have seen that. I have certainly seen that. And if you have been in enough attorneys' offices, which I hope you haven't, then I assure you, you've seen it too. If your attorney comes to your consultation, comes to a meeting with you, and they are fully disorganized, they have no idea which way is going, they're shuffling papers around because they don't know what they have in front of them, then that's a really big sign as to what your case might look like and how that attorney is going to handle your case going forward. It's not just today. It's not just in the consultation. What happens when they have to have a meeting with the attorney on the other side? What happens if they have to show up in court and they have your file that is in disarray? That's not really going to fare well for you as far as time, money, and energy spent. And what if they are not organized on the next steps, where it is that they think that they can help you advance your case? So I see X, Y, and Z. Here's a way that I can help you start to organize a path forward for creating that future. What if they have no idea as to the next steps? What if they seem disorganized because they're saying, "Okay, let's take this step," and then they have another conversation with you a few days later and it's a completely different conversation? We're going to take a different step. That disorganization is not only going to confuse you because you don't really know which way you're going, but it's also, again, going to waste a lot of time, money, and energy. So let's talk a little bit about how this unprofessional behavior can actually affect the outcome and the duration of your case. If this attorney is acting in an unprofessional manner, that can really affect how it is that your case advances, how long it takes, where it is that it winds up going, what path it takes, how adversarial it becomes. It can really take on a life of its own, much bigger than even you would realize if your attorney is not acting in a professional manner. If they're dismissive, you're not going to feel comfortable. If you're not feeling comfortable, how are you going to feel comfortable with your future? That's a big one. That's a huge red flag right from jump. If your attorney is not acting professional with you and you're not feeling comfortable with them, you need to stop and you need to take note of that. If they are unprepared or disorganized, that can lead to oversight or maybe even some mistakes. And again, we're all human, but when it comes to your case, you want to make sure that your attorney is laser focused on your future, on your case, and how it is that they can help you. You don't want that disorganization to have to cost you more time and money down the road. Your relationship with your attorney should be based on mutual trust and respect, and you should be able to be open and honest with your attorney about ways that you feel like maybe professional behavior is lacking. And if you're not comfortable with that, maybe that's not the right attorney for you. Another big one that I see quite often, especially when something is in court, but honestly, even if it's outside of court, the attorney is not treating your spouse's attorney, or even the court personnel in a respectful manner. And I don't mean just showing up and saying, "Good morning, how are you?" sort of the general pleasantries. No, I'm talking about when you have maybe a four-way meeting and your attorney is speaking very negatively to your spouse. They are speaking to the other attorney, trying to cut them down, trying to make jabs, trying to say to them, oh, well, we'll see you in court, and just generally posturing for no reason. I'm not saying that there aren't sometimes reasons, right? If the other attorney is being very aggressive and there's a point that really needs to be made and your attorney takes a strong stance, that's not what I'm talking about. Everyone knows what I mean when you walk into a room and there is that one person who is giving off such negative energy that it is just literally draining the entire room. Everyone's looking at them like they're really uncomfortable and they shouldn't be acting that way. I have seen many attorneys act like that, even in front of judges. That unprofessional conduct is not going to serve your case well. It's not going to make you look better in the eyes of the law, and it's certainly not going to help you create the future that you want if your attorney is in there being disrespectful or unprofessional to other people in the room, even if it's your ex. So, what should you do if you encounter this unprofessional behavior during the consultation or even after you have retained this attorney? Number one, do not ignore it. Do not ignore it. Ignoring it only means that that attorney is going to continue to act that way. Now, I'm not saying that you mentioning it to them is going to change everything. They're all of a sudden going to hit a light switch and now everything's changed and they are acting in accordance with the way that you believe that they should be or with their code of professional conduct. No. But what it means is you're letting them know, I'm paying you. I'm paying you to represent me in a certain way, and that unprofessional conduct, that's not acceptable. Number two, trust your instincts. The minute you see it, do not fight against your gut. Don't say, oh, well, maybe I'm making that up. No, you're not. If you saw something and you mention it and your attorney says, oh, I did this because of this reason, that's something different. Because sometimes as attorneys, we do have to advocate for you in a way that maybe we hadn't planned when we initially came in the meeting because we don't know how things are going to change. But your attorney should be able to explain that to you. Trust your gut. And thirdly, if your attorney continues to act in a way that is unprofessional, that makes you feel very uncomfortable, that doesn't align with your values, it might be time to start thinking about choosing another attorney. So to wrap it all up, unprofessional behavior in your divorce attorney is a huge red flag. Please do not ignore it. It will not help you. It will not help you now because it's going to cost you so much money. And it will not help you in the future because you're not going to get the results that you want. And it's not going to help you create a path of peace when you're sitting here trying to navigate an attorney who might not be acting in a professional manner. You are entitled to an attorney who's going to treat your case with care and efficiency and certainly respect. If you found part 6 on our red flags when it comes to hiring a divorce attorney helpful, and if so, we would love it if you would join us on the Divorce Den, subscribe, like, make sure that you are leaving us a comment, and we look forward to seeing you next time.